Julie Bishop coming up, but first we'll see what the Sunday papers are covering around the country, and of course the story of Alex Somerley first accepting the Deputy Speaker's role and then walking away from it is prominent in the newspapers. We'll first listen to Alex Somerley, who insists that he wasn't kneecapped, that he basically walked away from this because he wanted to avoid a media frenzy. Here he is.
The reason I decided not to go ahead with it because, you know, this has become the issue. The issue is now how is the Deputy Speaker going to vote. I rang Tony Abbott. I told him my decision this morning that I won't go ahead with it. There's no question of me being a Liberal Party rat. That was never on, and now I've got to go.
So, Malcolm Farr, was it really about, well, it would have been quite an ugly situation, I guess, if he'd gone ahead with that arrangement?
Barry, there's an old joke, and it involves a huge bank robbery, and police issue an identikit photo which has a striking resemblance to the Archbishop of Canterbury. But later on, a police spokesman said, look, I'm delighted to announce that after 4 hours of questioning, the Archbishop no longer resembles the identikit photo. Well, I think something similar has happened here. On Friday, the Liberal Party, Tony Abbott's office, put out a statement saying that Alex Somerley would not be pairing, would not be agreeing, making any special deal with the Labor Party to be the Deputy Speaker. Mr Somerley indicated on a number of occasions that this wasn't the fact, but after several hours of conversation, the Liberal Party is now delighted to say that Alex Somerley's views now resemble its original press release. And I think that is exactly what happened. Alex Somerley was making a freelance approach to the Labor Party. He got caught and talked out of it.
It would have been quite a breakthrough for Labor had they pulled it off.
Well, indeed, because they had secured, allegedly, and it seems that this is the case, they had secured his agreement to not vote against a Labor government or not back a no-confidence motion against a Labor government and to support supply, which are the key elements of making sure you stay in government. So even without the pairing arrangement, it looked as though he had supported that. And, yeah, it's bizarre, I have to say, this whole backwards-forwards thing, but it sounds to me like he may well have rung Tony Abbott, but Mr Abbott may well have told him that he was changing his mind.
I think it's their last chance, don't you? I mean, you'd have to be a masochist to take it. Imagine the scenes in Parliament. Point of order, Mr Speaker, you rotten, dirty, traitorous rat. You know?
OK, what happens now, Brian? What will be put together?
What's always held that there'll be the Speaker and there'll be a Deputy Speaker, but the Deputy Speaker's not paired, so Labor will end up with a majority of one, basically. And that won't matter, provided they don't have a by-election in a seat which they can't win.
Like Griffiths, for example.
Yeah.
You've got to come back to resign.
Yes, you do. And Brian, just one other story this morning. The Alco Pops, it looks as if it's become a bit of a fizzer.
It's a confusing picture painted by that story. It was a survey taken of the students in Victoria back in 2008, I should say, only a few months after the tax came in. It showed that alcohol consumption among students had been falling since the last survey 3 years earlier. But boys had been drinking less risky, but girls were drinking more Alco Pops. So it looks like at least the immediate impact of putting up the price on Alco Pops wasn't working, but something was bringing overall drinking down.
It still worked though as a revenue raiser, I presume?
Well, it will, but the idea is if it's a health measure, it shouldn't be a revenue raiser. Yeah.